Trappist beer is brewed by Trappist breweries. 10 monasteries €6 in Belgium, 2 in the Netherlands, 1 in Austria and 1 in the United States currently brew beer and sell it as Authentic Trappist Product. History: the Trappist order originated in the Cistercian monastery of La Trappe, France. Various Cistercian congregations existed for many years, and by 1664 the abbot of La Trappe felt that the Cistercians were becoming too liberal. He introduced strict new rules and the abbey and the strict observance was born. Since this time, many of the rules have been relaxed. However, a fundamental tenet, that monasteries should be self-supporting, is still maintained by these groups. Monastery brewhouses, from different religious orders, have existed across Europe since the Middle Ages. From the very beginning, beer was brewed in French Cistercian monasteries following the strict observance. For example, the monastery of La Trappe in Coligny already had its own brewery in 1685. Breweries were later introduced in monasteries of other countries as the Trappist order spread from France into the rest of Europe. The Trappists, like many other religious people, originally brewed beer to feed the community, in a perspective of self-sufficiency. Nowadays, Trappist breweries also brew beer to fund their works and charitable causes. Many of the Trappist monasteries and breweries were destroyed during the French Revolution and the World Wars. Among the monastic breweries, the Trappists were certainly the most active brewers. In the last 300 years, there were at least 9 Trappist breweries in France, 6 in Belgium, 2 in the Netherlands, 1 in Germany, 1 in Austria, 1 in Bosnia and possibly other countries. Today, 10 Trappist breweries are active 1 in Austria, 6 in Belgium, 2 in the Netherlands, and 1 in the United States. In the 20th century, the growing popularity of Trappist beers led some brewers with no connection to the order to label their beers Trappist. After unsuccessful trials, monks finally sued one such brewer in 1962 in Ghent, Belgium. The Dutch brewery De Kningshueven produces Trappist beers branded La Trappe that are able to carry the Authentic Trappist Product logo. Their use of the International Trappist Association logo was withdrawn in 1999, but was restored in October 2005. A second Dutch Trappist beer, branded Zundert and produced by Abdij Maria Toevocht, made its debut in December 2013. And has also been granted permission to use the International Trappist Association logo. International Trappist Association recognized breweries. In 1997, 8 Trappist abbeys €6 from Belgium, 1 from the Netherlands and 1 from Germany founded the International Trappist Association to prevent non-Trappist commercial companies from abusing the Trappist name. This private association created a logo that is assigned to goods that respect precise production criteria. For the beers, these criteria are the following: the beer must be brewed within the walls of a Trappist monastery either by the monks themselves or under their supervision. The brewery must be of secondary importance within the monastery and it should witness to the business practices proper to a monastic way of life. The brewery is not intended to be a profit-making venture. The income covers the living expenses of the monks and the maintenance of the buildings and grounds. Whatever remains is donated to charity for social work and to help persons in need. Trappist breweries are constantly monitored to assure the irreproachable quality of their beers. This association has a legal standing, and its logo gives the consumer some information and guarantees about the product. In 2012, the Trappist brewery of the Abbey of Engelsel, Trappisten Brouwerij Engelsel in Engelhassel, Austria started brewing beer at the monastery and in the same year obtained the Authentic Trappist Product logo for their beer. In December 2013, Maria Toevocht's Abbey and St. Joseph's Abbey were both granted the ATP logo for their Trappist beers. The German Trappist Abbey of Marienwald has not been producing beer since 1953. List of Trappist breweries. There are currently 10 breweries allowed to display the Authentic Trappist Product logo on their products. A euro recognition for La Trappe beer was withdrawn between 1999 and 2005. Other Trappist beers. The French Abbey of Sainte-Marie du Mont des Cats has been selling Trappist beer since June 16, 2011. This abbey has no brewery at this time and does not plan to build one in the near future. for reasons of costs and brewing skills. They have not excluded rebuilding one brewery in the future. The Trappist beer sold by Mont des Cats is produced by the Chimay Brewery and does not wear the Authentic Trappist Product logo. Abbey beer. The designation Abbey beers was originally used for any monastic or monastic-style beer. After the introduction of an official Trappist beer designation by the International Trappist Association in 1997, it came to mean products similar in style or presentation to monastic beers. In other words, an Abbey beer may be produced by a non-Trappist monastery, for example, Cistercian, Benedictine, or produced by a commercial brewery under an arrangement with an extant monastery, or branded with the name of a defunct or fictitious abbey by a commercial brewer, or given a vaguely monastic branding, without mentioning a specific monastery, by a commercial brewer. Types of beer. Trappist beers are all top-fermented, including La Trappe bock beer, and mainly bottle-conditioned. Trappist breweries use various systems of nomenclature for the different beers produced which relate to their relative strength. The best known is the system where different beers are called Enkel Single, Double Double and Triple Triple. Considering the importance of the Holy Trinity in the Church, it is unlikely that the choice of three types of beers was accidental. These terms roughly describe both the amount of malt and the original gravity for a double and triple for a triple, marking the casks accordingly. Enkels are now no longer brewed as such. Colors can be used to indicate the different types, dating back to the days when bottles were unlabeled and had to be identified by the capsule or bottle top alone. Chimay beer labels are based on the color system. Westfleteren beers are still unlabeled. There is also a number system, which gives an indication of strength, but is not necessarily an exact alcohol by volume. Actual combine a strength and a color designation. Double. The double is a Trappist brewery's naming convention. The origin of the double was a beer brewed in the Trappist Abbey of Westmalle in 1856. Westmalle double was imitated by other breweries, Trappist and commercial, Belgian and worldwide, leading to the emergence of a style. Doubles are now understood to be a fairly strong brown ale, with understated bitterness, fairly heavy body, and a pronounced fruitiness and cereal character. Examples are, Westmalle Double, Chimay Red Premier, Kningshueven La Trappe Double and Attribution Brewin, Rochefort 6. Triple. Triple is a naming convention used by Belgian Trappist breweries to describe the strongest beer in their range. Westmalle Triple is considered to be the foundation of this beer style, and was developed in the 1930s. Attribution Blonde, Westmalle Triple, Kningshueven La Trappe Triple, and Chimay White 5 cents are all examples of the Trappist triples, but this style has proven even more popular among secular breweries like St. Vallian, Bostiles and St. Bernardus. Triples as a style are generally beers with an alcohol content ranging from 8% to 10% ABV. Others, most Trappist breweries also feature a pater's beer, or father's beer that is only available within the monastery. This variety is designed to be consumed by the monks themselves, although it is sometimes offered at the monastery's on-site café. Copyright. The term pater's beer does not designate a style as such. It is usually a weaker version of one of the regular beers, and may only be offered to the brothers on festive occasions, both of these facts relating to the Trappist tradition of austerity. Examples include Chimay Dora. Copyright Ian Petit Orval. Enkel, meaning single, is a term formerly used by the Trappist breweries to describe the basic recipe of their beers. There are now no Trappist breweries using the term. Instead, blonde, E5, or 6 are used to describe the brewery's lightest beer. An Enkel could fulfill the role of a pater's beer, as was the case with Kningshueven when it was in production. Quadruple is the name Kningshueven gave to a La Trappe ale they brew which is stronger than their triple. Ranges. The official Trappist breweries produce the following beers for consumption: Atchel sells Blonde, Brewin, Extra Blonde, Extra Brewin. Chimay sells Red Label, White Label and Blue Label. Ingelsel sells Gregorius and Benno. Kningshueven sells La Trappe Blonde, La Trappe Double, La Trappe Cider, La Trappe Jubilaris, La Trappe Triple, La Trappe Quadruple, La Trappe Quadruple Oak Aged, La Trappe Wit Trappist. La Trappe Bockbier, La Trappe Pour. Orval sells a unique dry-hopped 6.2% amber ale. Rochefort sells 3 dark ales, 6, 8 inches and 10. St. Joseph sells Spencer, Westmore sells double and triple, Westfleteran sells green cap or blue cap or 8, and yellow cap or 12. In addition to the above, a lower strength beer is sometimes brewed for consumption by the brothers or sold on site. Glassware. Belgian breweries have a tradition of providing custom beer glasses. With Trappist breweries, this often takes the form of providing chalice, or goblet-style glasses. The distinction between goblet and chalice is typically in the glass thickness. Goblets tend to be more delicate and thin, while the chalice is heavy and thick-walled. Some chalices are even etched on the bottom to nucleate a stream of bubbles for maintaining a nice head. Beer tourism. The idea of visiting Trappist monasteries to sample their beers has become more popular in recent years, partly due to promotion by enthusiasts such as the beer hunter Michael Jackson. Some brewing monasteries maintain a visitors' center where their beers can be tasted and bought. Visits to the monastery itself are usually not available to the general public, although visitors can overnight in some of the monasteries if their purpose is non-touristic. See also: Beer in Belgium, Beer in the Netherlands, references. External links: All about Trappist beer, official site of the International Trappist Association, press release regarding the La Trappe dispute, official website of the Trappist order, proof of a brewery in the monastery of La Trappe, 1685, November 16. The reference on the net talking about Trappist beer, everything you want to know about Trappist beers, new Trappist brewery in the United States announced.